All right, guys, this is episode 13 of Stich Joe Talk CS 2017's first episode. We're back to the two-person layout, but as Joe promised you all on Twitter, we do have more guests in the pipeline. All of them are players. Let me move this. All right, that's better. Or no, it's not. But yeah, all of them are players, and yeah, so that will probably get more player-oriented perspective. Last episode was quite theory-heavy, wouldn't you say?
It was pretty theory heavy. Yeah, it was pretty theory heavy. I like that we got into some of the more nitty gritty things.
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
That's what we're here for. As I mentioned, got some hate coming out of Norway, which is fine. I did have some omissions. That's okay. But yeah, that's okay.
In the end, as Anne said, that we had a viewer, so.
Yeah, we had one viewer. That's
no, but as in like hate or not, someone he was watching. So
yeah.
So okay, no, we're good.
Be on the lookout for more of it, sure.
We do have a lot to cover, but interestingly enough, in terms of the global scoop, North America, aside from drama and rank ass bullshit and writing long tweet longers about one's parents and dodging lands, roster news are kind of sparse. Well, no, I mean we'll get into the who. I saw some other stuff with like Char and stuff, but we just have Hazed leaving CLG. We knew somebody was gonna bite the bullet. Not even talking about behind the scenes, but just talking about results and common sense. And turns out it was Hazed. Cutler or Hazed? Which one? Does it matter? What are your feelings on it?
Well, I don't think it really matters to the layperson, but behind the scenes, Hayes was the person that had been mentioned, like, for a long, long time as being the one exiting. And I don't know if that was, it might have been a mutual thing as well, because he's an older guy. So maybe he just realized it was time. But I think it makes sense. I think obviously, yeah, like you mentioned, Cutler or Hayes, I think they're making the right move by keeping those young guys in there. Like, we certainly haven't seen the tippy top out of them yet, but I think they have some room to grow. So I think that's a smart move.
Weren't there a lot of rumors flying around about a Brazilian team for CLG and all kinds of other goodness?
Yeah, there were rumors about like Peacemaker, because we had all these, because of the ABCDE kind of drama, we had all these Brazilian teams come free of their organizations. There were rumors that Peacemaker might be contracted by CLG to make this like Brazilian super team, although it's not really a super team because it's just a super team of the people that are still in Brazil. That was a rumor.
Fell apart, right?
I can't verify if it was. The last thing that I heard was that nothing had been signed yet. So, as far as I know, that is still the case.
Well, it looks like for now CLG are just going with the new, just like when Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and all these like boutique. Well, I mean these are chains now, but back in the day when it came about that people wanted their organic homegrown, they're going for the like Cloud9 TSM organic homegrown. Stick with these young guns and see what happens. See if they blossom. The Stewie 2K pipe dream, as one might call it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably aren't. I mean, I would be surprised if they bring in another like premier hotshot. I would probably look more to them to bring in like a European free agent. I think that certainly could be an option for them. Some people had linked Maniac with them. I don't know if that's anything that's legit or what, but it could be a possibility. Frankly, if they're going to do that, they might as well just kept Hazed.
Bringing in European talent is not an excuse to bring in European drifters, or leeches, like people who just are looking for a free pass. You got to bring in good players.
American level Europeans. That doesn't fix anything.
Yeah, that's like if you do make that mistake, don't at least go to the same level. I was just gonna say I felt bad for Hazed. Oh my god, I was gonna say Hades. He's so on my mind. We'll get there. We'll get to the analysis of the grandest beta male to walk the planet. Yeah, but he had some tweet like finally packed, like the PC's packed, ready to go, and somebody replied to him in this like cheery way, like, "Oh, where are you going?" As if in the you're advancing way. He's like, "Oh, back to Texas." It's just going back home.
Well, I mean, he has like a pretty long-term girlfriend, I believe. So, and I know like from Snapchat and stuff that they spent like they were together somewhat regularly. So I don't know if she like was dislocated or
Is it
what.
that Leah girl?
I don't know what her name is. She's probably another streamer.
Does she
right?
have short hair?
Yeah, she has short hair.
Yeah, no, I don't know if she's a streamer, but every time whenever I went to CS events, she'd be usually part of the coterie of people.
CLG people, yeah.
Yeah, they had a weird, not weird, I don't want to insult them, but they definitely had like a campy to themselves vibe and I mean they do live on a 21st century commune, so yeah, I mean, anyways, so over in Europe, Joe and I talked about this. This is kind of, because of our little Christmas New Year break, this is kind of old news. So it's lost its value for us to talk about, but of course there's the G2 envious super team thing in the air. Let's wait until after the major. I don't know how well Scream writes in English, but if he wants to write angsty poetry, I invite him to write with me, do a little competition.
Twitlongers incoming.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. This is the year of twitlongers and land dodging, apparently. So, as is our wont, we will avoid talking about top 10 teams and talk about Existence, the Spanish team.
Yes, not Existence the player.
Not
Existence with
Existence
Spanish team.
So just the last piece of team news that made HLTV in December emerged that they had lost their quartet. There's always quartets and triplets and trios and quads, losing, coming, going in Spain. We've talked about it being a mess before. Can you give me a little breakdown on this particular instance?
Yeah, I mean, so we can kind of lump in some other things into this as well. Basically, the entire ecosystem of Spanish CS is in flux right now. We had their main league, the Liga de Videojuegos, is basically, much like what's happening in Brazil. Spain is very much more focused on League of Legends because there's more money and there's been more success in general coming from that game. So Brazil's premier league has essentially shifted all of its focus towards League of Legends. They got some big sponsorship in, and for this first season of this new sponsored league, there's not going to be any CS. So it looks like right now there is no next season of Spanish CS. So we had Existence dropping 4 players, excluding Flippin, the old school player, and this is the second time this has actually happened to this team. This happened basically exactly a year ago, where everyone left Existence except Flippin, and then he rebuilt the team. I had heard that this is actually more a situation of the other 4 players wanting to leave Flippin behind and the organization siding with him, which, if we ever get Lucas on here, he can tell you is just another in a long line of Spanish organizations making awful decisions. And so rolled into this, we also had G-Bots cut all their players except Canarito, who is one of these. He would definitely be on the short list of the next Spanish talents to be getting the call up, to be rescued out of Spain and brought into the world at large.
Which is the only way to go about it if you want to get some recognition in Spain.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a ecosystem where you have no idea where the hell you're going to be playing next season.
Yeah.
A lot of the more successful CS countries have this built-in local circuit, which is where talent gets consistently discovered. And that's almost the initial rung, even before the ESEA Open sort of a thing. Is a very good step to success.
Gotcha.
So
yeah. Lucas, if we had him on here, he would be giving us dirges, songs of lament about Spanish CS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there, you were really amused to see another European thing happen, which was Spy Leader and NKL forming their team. I think it cracked you up. I do believe I saw a tweet. So the team is, did we? Yeah, so let me just get a thing up. It's Spy Leader, NKL, Psycho, Nikki One, Shemeta, trying to pick up the pieces of post E-Frag, have a leading team. Although I actually just now saw a rogue tweet that they're the #1 Bulgarian team.
I mean, by default, right? Like, yeah I retweeted that because it is funny. They have, 2 Bulgarian guys, which makes them the best Bulgarian team. I thought it was. We talked about this on the show, I'm pretty sure, when Spy Leader originally left B-Pro, throwing just like mountains of shade at his former teammates at the time, saying that the only person who deserved to be on a good team was Nikki One. So fair play to him. Nikki One, he brought him in, but he also brought another one of those guys, Psycho, into the fold. So I don't know if that's a case of Spy Leader, realizing, maybe some hyperbole in his ways, or just realizing there's fucking no one else to play CS with in Bulgaria. So you gotta deal with what you have.
It's probably the latter. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely. So not much to be said about these guys. S.H. Shmeda, I'm not sure how to pronounce that guy's name, but he has been in the revolving circuit of this core of guys, along with Psycho, right? Who rang for them when Dreamer couldn't play, since the latter 1.6 days, and in fact, when Psycho stopped filling in for them, it was S.H. Smeda that started, filling in for them. So these guys have some experience together. I wouldn't expect all that much to happen. Though they may be able to hijack the B-Pro Premier spot. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. So that could be some incoming drama to keep your guys on.
I mean, certainly if cheap gambling money floods the scene for Tier 3 tournaments, they could try their hand at winning those, although they will be lacking a lot of what made them win the earlier ones, which is extreme firepower in the forms of, Victor and...
Victor, Dreamer, Bubble.
Dreamer, yeah. So, in any case, so a lot of since the new year, a lot of mid-level glue is forming, and here's another example, although this one, I guess we could throw some shade if we want, but it's the X-Energy trio, all the Germans that got kicked out, well, one Serbian, but Gabi, Legia, Tabson, back in the land of Willkommen culture. It was kind of edgy. And they brought Nexon from X Mouse Sports and Kiev from Attacks. So Kiev next, there's some firepower there. Next notorious, people watching me play, I can't shoot anywhere. And Kiev also choker. So the thing is, you see these are storied players, but I also see a recipe for disaster at the same time. And then of course there's Gabi, who, his days are past him when it comes to hitting things on the server. I have a couple of things to say. It's interesting to me that a guy like Tapson, who certainly could have a future in one of, what we might be tempted to call a better team. It's a very kind way of saying it.
Well, we haven't seen them play, so we don't know what's going to really happen. But Tabson is certainly someone who has shown, more than, sustained flashes of brilliance, let's say. He's definitely someone that can pack a punch. So it's interesting to me that he sticks with this Gob Legia core, right? There's something that he's buying into something there, for better or for worse, which is interesting to me, A. And B, what a lot of people... I haven't seen anyone really say, aside from 99 Damage, the German outlet. The last time that we saw, when we saw Nex at the height of his powers, it was when Gob was still leading Mousesports, right? It was when Nico was benched, Gabi was leading Mousesports, and Nex was their guy.
Which is also, as Nex might call it, the best moment of his life.
I mean, I think without question it was the best moment of his professional life.
Before that whiny Bosnian got brought in and just
I can't speak to what has happened outside of the Counter-Strike server, but it's certainly the best thing that's ever happened to him in the server. So no, I'm excited to have the reunion of Gabi and Nex, and looking forward to seeing them. And we'll see them in action tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm certainly excited to see them. I like I said, or not like I said, but they're just all of the components here have faulty circuitry, I think. So it's like they're gonna have to do some tuning, some tweaking, and really figure out what they want instead of game plan if they hope to be a I'll call them a German team, like Legia.
Yeah, German by association.
Yeah,
sure.
German team. So anyways, big news on the. Or do you want to say a little bit more about it?
Well, I was just going to say that this is definitely a roster that's going to have to be more than the sum of its parts.
Right. Well said.
Yep. That's all.
Yeah, well said, buddy. So, yeah, something that we alluded to for 2 episodes in a row, I think, ever since Dignitas, the players left the team. You already knew there was, like, big fish in the water. I didn't know as much, obviously, because you had your little Atlanta trip and your powwow with HLTV, and you had your sources, of course, per sources, but FC Copenhagen signing ex Dignitas, and yeah, I mean, calling them North. We've talked about in our little admin chat that that's a little cheesy. There is some cheesiness there, but I don't think it's like a terrible name. I just think, it's the associations with Game of Thrones. It's not other reasons. That's the only thing. But I don't want to get stuck on their name. I don't want to be punctilious. Certainly excited to see them go forward at the major because they're missing out at WESG. Shame on you.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
But it could have been free 800K right there.
Yeah, I mean, and especially after they certainly intimated that they were planning to go. I don't know if that's something that changed as a result of their negotiations with North. Like, I don't know if they said, there's no fucking way you're going to fuck around in China. You have, like, a real fucking event to play. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it certainly is not outside of the realm of possibilities. No, I mean, there's no way that you can term this as, like, a not exciting venture to see. Especially from if you've read up some of the interviews with the guys who are heading up this effort from the FC Copenhagen and the Nordisk, because there's also a film company that's involved in this as well that isn't getting as much like airplay as the FC Copenhagen investment. But the guys that are heading it up, because the previous sports teams, aside from the Sixers that have gotten into the space, have been very reticent to throw their weight behind shooters. So you have like FC Schalke, a bunch of Spanish clubs, French teams as well, basically saying like, no, like CSGO and other games like that do not fit into our brand. Meanwhile, if you see the interviews with the North guys, they're like, it's a fucking video game. Like, I think we can give enough people enough credit to know that it's not the same as actually going out in real life and shooting someone. So
wow, someone in Europe making a mature decision.
Yeah, holy fucking crap. Yeah. He's probably like an American-born European.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's two instant dislikes on our YouTube video right there.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting for those guys, like we're probably going to see they've mentioned like, oh, they're going to be playing in an arena, in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah.
We're probably going to see that materialize before we see this ethereal Virtus Pro arena happen ever, because all that money has to be laundered and brought back into the country. So,
we could talk for days just like riffing on the kleptocratic, like, what's it called? I don't know, just scumbag nature of that Alisher Umanov money, but whatever. That money. I actually had a joke about VP, like, their owner. They were like, "Oh, with China, we're kind of worried," and the owner's just roaringly drunk, and he's like, "You go, you take Tupolev jet." It's great. They just try to fly over the Caspian Sea. All right. Current event rivet. I was just going to say, their plan for the 40 to 50K in attendance at a tournament is steep, ambitious, but I like it. And certainly if they get a tournament going, squeeze out a little bit of that 80% of MTG tournaments in 2017 that Richard Lewis alluded to. Certainly could get some other tournament TOs in here.
Well, hey, if they're invited, right? Because they're not in WESA, so who knows? They have to get it while they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you saying something, though? Because I totally derailed you with a little tale of VP flying a Tupolev across Central Asia.
Yeah, no, the last part of that I want to say was that it was mentioned that their contracts are longer than, the standard contract, right? Which is usually, like, on the magnitude of months, like 6 months to a year, right? It was intimated that these contracts are longer, probably, like, at a minimum 2 years. Just wondering what thoughts you have about that. We've seen this with VP was probably, to tie it back to them again, VP is probably like the first like big ticket team that we had heard had these sorts of contracts. So we discussed it then, but just want to go over it again. What you think?
Well, I guess the way I think about it is like, when you have software and it comes in rolling updates, and like some clients will only get it when their old stuff dies. It's kind of like that. Like, it's another update cycle for more pay, longer contracts. It's like the reality of the scene is catching up with these shit old outdated contracts that often don't pay well or have stupid clauses in them. So I mean, I like it. I like things that go forward. I'm addicted to software updates. I legit go around my house, update everybody's software in my house, and do BIOS flashes. I have to do another BIOS flash on my main desktop. I'm so excited. They call it autism, folks.
They do. That is the technical term. Some would say it's a lifestyle choice. Not really.
That's why I'm doing the AGDQ. It's only 5 minutes from my work, so.
Oh, that's sick. But yeah, I actually like the contract terms much more in this case, because these, the North guys are on average much younger than the VP guys are. So I think it makes much more sense, because who, fucking Taz's heart could give out at any time. Yeah. But yeah, everyone on from the Danish side, aside from Rugga, their coach, who is obviously one of the more dispensable pieces, is pretty young. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah. And God damn it, you had me laughing internally thinking about the VP owner again, but whatever. I just remember Taz's tweet about him being like a great guy or something, and I was like, okay. Anyways, DH Leipzig really not getting the same billing that it did, for example, last year when Navi won it. Mm-hmm. Right? It was Navi over Luminosity? I'm almost certain.
I think so.
But it's 100K, like, you can't discount it. And let's just talk about the teams and the groups very quickly. Yep. So Group A is Heroic, LDLC, Fnatic Academy, QWERTY, the Michael Aley, the Bill team.
Yep.
And Group B is Flipside, Vegas Squadron, Rogue, and Big. Interesting, some of the teams we've had on our mind this episode showing up here. And Rogue and LDLC, we got our Global Challenge, ESEA Global Challenge teams.
Yeah.
They got to get over there real quick. So,
yeah.
Speaking of which, the game's going on as we're recording, and Rogue seemed to be on a path to easily win this, so we'll talk about that next episode. But yeah, in any case, or
maybe this episode it'll probably be done by the time we get there, so we can just add it to recent tournaments.
Yeah, we could. Oh yeah, it is in there, so. But in any case, I'm excited to see Vegas Squadron, personally. I love my underdogs. Fnatic Academy, of course, also exciting that they've... they're like, shit, there's no more easy money to be made in China. Goddamn. Gotta get over to Europe and try to fight. But yeah, what do you think? I think it'll be a cool, neat little tournament. I think we'll get some understanding of some of these teams that aren't top 20, or Heroic is, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like more as the year goes on. I think this is probably what we're gonna come to understand as the complexion of what the DreamHack Open looks like, in terms of the team composition. It's gonna be like a smattering of low tier 1 to high tier 2, and then below that. So it's like for instance, this is like literally the first official that we're gonna see QWERTY playing. So that's interesting in and of itself. It's going to be our first look at Vegas Squadron, since the major qualifier, so people are going to be eager to see that. Fnatic Academy will be playing with JZ Walkings instead of JZar, so J for J. and I'm told that that will be a permanent move, at least from the perspective of Jazar exiting that team, which is shocking, actually, because he's really the one that had been powering them to those wins at Acer Predator Masters and China Top.
So what's the word behind that? They didn't want to play with him or something? They didn't like him?
Yeah, more or less. That's
Okay.
that's kind of what's happening.
That's unfortunate because yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
like you said, strong player.
Yeah, and there's really doesn't seem to be anywhere for him to go at this point in the Swedish scene. Although I did see that Michael Lilly sprained his thumb, so if that becomes a situation, maybe he'll wind up on the QWERTY roster.
Dude, you can't see me, but I was doing the bless hand sign, that emoji. So yeah, we'll see that. So I think this is a show first. I have no idea what the Asus ROG Grand Finals are. I didn't read about it. I don't know. Can you run me through this? It looks like a community thing, which is like somewhat known people. But is this like Luke? This is Taiwanese. Are these people all in Stockholm?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing as that. Remember they did that Play It Cool challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
Face it. So it's a similar thing, except now they have like well-known captains who brought like 4 no names along with them. So it was 8 of those teams. So it was like Michael Lely captained one team. We have Na Adren, Flom, Zonix, the German player. Luke was the Taiwanese guy. Sky Art, some French dude that I've never heard of.
And Sponge,
and of
yeah,
course
Zako.
the Inespel, Isaac from Poland. So I didn't watch any of it. I did see that the Play It Cool MVP Lulzy was on Michael Lely's team. But
Wait, so
yeah.
did they fly these people out? It doesn't seem like there's any cash incentive to fly them all out. Like, how did they make their way over here? I also see that Izako's team won.
Yeah, they flew them all out. As far as I know, there wasn't any like prize. I think it was all just like a promotional thing for Asus.
So Flom was there. Flom was in Sweden.
Yeah, he was so close to his Nordic roots.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess. So sometimes community things like that can elude me. Sometimes I'm by nature not that interested in them. Never was interested in like charities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm a good guy on the individual level. I don't do the community thing. I guess that's how I explain it. But yeah,
well,
so I didn't know.
I mean, Anders and Sumler were casting it, and it was tracking at like 70K views, which was insane because ESEA LAN had like 15. Like even right now, I can't see how many it has.
Yeah.
Right now in the grand finals, ESEA LAN has 23,000 viewers. So that was surprising to me.
That is weird, because I did see the tweets. People were like, "Oh, you could tell this is how much people miss CS, and 70K are watching this." But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the ESEA timing is a little bad, of course. Also, the ESEA stream is like really hasn't been for years. Isn't run very well. Like it's very spare, and I don't think they have a lot of subs. The Twitch channel, it's kind of I think so. I might be wrong, but I always remember tuning in, and it seemed like it like with the headers in the bottom, it just doesn't look as oomph. It doesn't have it all there. They don't promote it, so I don't know. Also, it might just be because people would rather watch celebrities than good tier 2 teams. That's probably the actual reason.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, very very unfortunate for us. So we've got this little tidbit for y'all, or something some people might not have noticed, but we've got Maxi coming in to the Denial roster. One of those rosters that it's very easy for you and I to crack a joke or two because it has.
Yeah, they write themselves.
They write themselves.
Some of these ones.
I mean, you could throw in a retirement home joke and a Todd Anger Williams joke and put them together, and how many things would come out of that blender? You'd be feeding yourself for a year. But so what about this move? I mean, it's strange, right? To get Spitfire out of there, or no, not really. I don't really follow Spitfire too much, or this team in general.
Yeah, I mean, Spitfire like never was like an amazing talent.
I thought of him as like a stable kind of player that you would need to help do some of the things that the stars don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that there aren't any legitimate stars in the Nile roster, so they like are trying to bring one in. Um,
Gotcha.
so Maxi is someone who at least, I mean, he hasn't played like, at a top level in a year and a half, right? But he's someone who has more of like a flashier pedigree. Um, so maybe that's the thought there. I mean, I think it's like it frankly isn't an investment that I would be making if I was in Nile because, this team when they were initially brought together was supposed to be vying for like these open qualifications and stuff like that and like certainly you would have expected to have made it to premier playoffs or at least, the org did when they brought two Swedes over to the US and that didn't happen. So I'm actually surprised that they're, didn't pull the plug on the project. So I mean, it's surprising and good in that sense.
Yeah, so
Not sure about smart.
Yeah, so Faith is good. I mean, I like these people individually. It's just that you can't talk about like XP3, Anger, and Flowsick without talking about what happened to Winter Fox and without that team just went on for as long as it did and didn't achieve anything. And
yeah.
that's where that comes from. That it's not animus that drove me to make the Anger joke. It's just that you got to give results if you're given opportunities. Yeah, but I guess so. I assume Spitfire's probably back in Sweden now. I mean, this happened a while. I mean, this happened like 4 days ago, but I bet this was finalized, right? But they're bringing Maxi over to the States.
Yeah. I assume because I know Huiten was over in Sweden over the break as well, so I assume Spitfire would have made that journey as well and just stayed there.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes.
But I mean, like the reality is like it used to be that there was so little money and so few orgs in the space that naturally, if you were shit, you would get cut. But now there's so much money in the space that like there's room for these mid-tier teams to have funding, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, like there's more fish in the sea than just like the 10 best teams in the world, and I mean that's kind of like a lot of what this show is about. So, so I don't have a problem with it inherently. So I mean, in some ways you might chalk it up to progress, right? That like in the past, this is probably would have been just be like get the fuck out of the U.S., go back to Sweden. You guys didn't do anything, but they're given what looks like another season. So power to them.
Yeah, power to them. I mean, and the development isn't bad. It's like okay, this is so long-winded, but I guess you could compare it to the rise of the middle class. Like more people have spending money, but if you choose to be an idiot and spend it stupidly on commodities and find yourself in debt, then that's no longer the problem of the system. That's your problem. So,
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, actually, that analogy didn't turn out that bad at all. I'm kind of pleased with myself. So, well thank you. So, Oscar, what Oscar? Old boy. Come on.
So actually, funny story about this is when the initial tweet went out, I was so like out of the mode of thinking of Czech Oscar as relevant that I updated Wikipedia as saying that Polish Oscar was going to be playing for them, which was confusing to me because I know he just signed for Attack, so I was like, why would he be playing for Penta? But yeah. I was like, Czech Oscar at a major. I don't think so.
Yeah, I just thought Oscar had, dug into his Slavic roots, started drinking heavily in some like block tower apartment, playing H1Z1 or I don't know what they're doing these days in block tower apartments. But yeah, so he's gonna be standing in for Penta to help them retain their Pro League spot. From my understanding, it is just a stand-in. It really won't be a long-term thing. That's my understanding of it. But you never know, what if they play well and then they're like, oh yeah, guys, this could work. And then I just don't have high hopes if they went that way. I could only see Oscar right now. This is just my thought, is him like building like a Czech, Slovak kind of thing and them going up that way. And then maybe he would sacrifice himself to feed some younger talent. I just think that he really fucked up that Mouse Sports chance and really dug a grave for himself.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple points there. It's been said that this is just a stand-in thing. I would tend to think that is very contingent upon whether they keep the spot or not. If they keep the spot or not, like I'm not really sure who else they could get that would be better. or at least as like name brand as Oscar is, tarnished as it may be now. Secondly, to your point of doing the local thing, he already did that. You know, like he was in those Fraternitas and Neophyte rosters with Stico and Zero and Questone and all those dudes. And you know, they've all come up now. Like, so he brought all of those dudes to the top tier with him, and then like when he took his shot, he flubbed it utterly. You know, like Icarus flying too close to the sun and just getting scorched.
Yeah, but in this analogy, it's Icarus flying close to the sun, and then his like little fanboy Striker flying behind him, and when Oscar's wings burned off, he is heaving frame.
Striker's like, take mine.
And then Striker, you know, who's like 6'5" and weighs 95 pounds, was just hit by Oscar's heaving frame, and into the ocean they plummet. Shout outs to Striker if he does get to see this. But yeah, so I mean, we do see also Sonny on here, the Finnish player. Mike S, of course, who was there already, who's kind of watching the ship sink, and now he's got reasons to try to plug the. Oh, isn't there a technical term for plugging leaks in a ship? Well, whatever. Anyways, yeah, so there's that. So
I mean, and Mike S, who is already out of that roster, right? So
yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Very similarly to how we had Semphis and FNS playing at ECA, which we'll talk about later. You have to question like how much motivation does he really have?
Right.
You wonder if I would assume there are some financial incentives, you know, like extra contractual incentives laying behind those moves, but we can talk about that later.
Or it could also be what you said, that maybe he might think there is a future if they do well.
Could be.
And I mean, it's like at that level, you can always renegotiate a contract. I don't think. I mean, what are some of these? Maybe not Penta, but like what would a like a tier 2 Australian team contract be? You know, it's got to be like a notepad and put your X here, and we'll just get another little notepad out.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of those Australian contracts are easy because they don't even get paid. So
yeah.
So it's basically like just taking like this fucking CD cover and writing on it and being like, "Here's your contract, bud."
Right. By the way, sorry, it just caught my eye. LDLC are starting to get some rounds here in the second map of the final.
Yeah, they've actually taken the lead here. So
my page hasn't updated.
13-12 right now. I don't think Rogue has gotten a single round on CT side.
Oh wow. Well,
yeah.
That's what we call choke. CIS region, you know, in the Who section, maybe we can explore. I don't see anything though. Just looking here. No, I think CIS region's kept to itself unless some like super tier 3 shit went down.
There's some stuff I can add to it based on this Starry Game event, but we'll do that in Who for sure.
Oh yeah, it's Starry Game. That's right. You can talk about that. So I think there's the juggernaut of WESG, and that's pretty much what is clearing the way for the Asian news. I did see your link, which I didn't have time to read. It does look like something happened in Thailand, right, with my waifu, Ginny?
With your waifu, Ginny, yeah. Made in Thailand are copying the phase complexity model, where they're not trying to build a team, they're trying to build an army. They they dropped 1 player, added 4 players, so they have like 8 players on their roster right now. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work, but
yeah, Ginny's still there.
Ginny's still there,
Perfect.
leading her beta soldiers into battle behind her or probably in front of her to absorb all those bullets.
Now,
yeah.
Now, I did hear some news, some really big news for Asia, but unfortunately, I can't.
Yeah, we can't talk about it.
I can't, you know.
I want to. I do want to.
I could, like, there could be a day where I break trust with Peter, you know, and he just kicks me away from all the HLT related things, but it will not be the day. There is some big news in the works, so let us be the first to say, if someone hasn't hinted already, that you can look for some big news in Asian CSGO. But
it might, by the time this gets posted, that news might be out already.
Yeah, it probably will.
Not gonna risk it.
Yeah.
So.
So WESG. We've got Hades land dodging. We'll talk about that in Shady Spooky, though. I know you guys wanted to hear it. But we do have things like the talent reveal, which wasn't there when we did the last thing. I mean, we've got my boy Launders, who he wanted to become a pro Dark Souls player there for like 2 or 3 weeks, so just streaming straight Dark Souls. I don't know if you noticed.
I did not.
And they've got Tom Biz casting, YNK, Natu Vendetta on analysis, Antonio Predko as host. So the thing with WESG that I find a little weird is they've got all this money, but they do, like, the talent and then, like, the weird way they did seating. They are acting extremely tier 3 about it all.
Well, they're acting very Chinese about it all, especially in terms of the seating, which we talked about before, and in terms of not being willing to accept that the way they did the seating is wrong, which is a huge problem. That was a message that I tried getting across through different channels to them, saying that if you're going to be throwing all this money at this event and you want to keep on doing it, you should do it fucking properly, because eventually, no matter how much money you're throwing at it, like, if you're fucking it up that badly, like, you're not going to get Virtus Pro that are willing to fly over to fucking China for however much money if they're going to get thrown in a shit fucking group where they have to, play like 3 of the other best teams there. Like, that makes no sense.
No, and it's looking bad for other reasons. I mean, if you think about it, when you have a tournament with that much of prize money, I'm not saying, like, having the Room on Fire guys doing analysis and having Launders and Thomas there is bad, but you would think they would have the whole gang, right? Like, but I guess, first of all, there's not everyone wants to go to China. Second of all, there's the weird opaque way these Chinese fuckers operate. And so, yeah, but I am a little worried. I think viewership might be low, especially if they're, like, going to launch a fresh channel that hasn't been used before. I also foresee technical issues, as is common in China. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. It could be like a 1.5 million tournament with 10,000 viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I think from... I'm not trying to think of where to go with this. I do know for a fact that not all the games are going to be casted, and just because
that would
China...
kill them, first of all.
No, I mean, that is point of fact how it's going to be. I mean, look at how many commentators they have, and look how many games they have to cast. They simply cannot cast them all. So I don't know if there's going to be Go TVs open or what. Like, I really hope there are. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you know what? We're spoiled. We're coming at this with, like, a 2017, ESL, E-League, like, give us all the stuff we want. This is like some WG 2008 shit. Where you have to be a god of IP finding to get a Go TV. You join and it's like weird and laggy, and we're only going to see the final on a 240p bitrate stream somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean,
video.
It's not fucking 2008 anymore. There's $1.5 million online just in this tournament. There's at least three others, Dota 2 and Hearthstone, right? And maybe even one other game that's being played here. There's millions and millions of dollars on the line here, so it is annoying, concerning, frustrating, all these issues that are cropping up. And just the seating on that is the icing on the cake. But hopefully we can get to see all of the playoff matches at least, and hopefully there's some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, hopefully. By the way, I just saw that Assembly Winter announced a tournament. I don't know. I was sent the link, but I can't open it because it was on Skype, and that would just show up on your screen in the recording. But yeah, I mean, I know Assembly Winter throw down nice little Finnish shindigs in the dead of winter, so that's good that they're doing it again.
I see our article in progress, but there's nothing there yet, so let me see if I can find it. Oh, the website is like giving a 404, so apparently a lot of other people are excited about it as well.
Well, we'll have to check that out. Maybe we can check in a bit. When we talk about recent tournaments. So in Oceania, I threw this in here in this section, although you could always argue it's a European/American endeavor. Kassad joining Renegades as their coach. They've really got a bargain here, I think. They've got really good coaching potential. I mean, PK is a good guy, but I don't really know how far his tactical prowess went. He did come from casting. we had a cool interview in Atlanta. I just don't know, but yeah, now they've got Kassad, which is really cool, and so yeah, I'm just how rarely do you hear me just say I'm excited?
Pretty rarely. No, I think this is an interesting move. Certainly, I mean, it had kind of seemed like maybe Renegades had run out of like the fresh, like whatever fresh new ideas PK had, like they had run out of them, and like traveled as far as they were with that batch of ideas. So it did seem like it might be ripe for a change. Kassad certainly is like the best that we have seen out of mouse sports in the last year or so, when he was at the helm there right before the coaching change went through. So it's good to see him getting another shot, and should be interesting. And he has a history of kind of like coaching these teams that are like not his nationality, right? Like way back when at whatever minor that was where the Team Wolf was there, he like coached them for like a month before and at the event. So it's not like he'll be a complete stranger to this sort of arrangement.
Well, it just seems like all these Serbians and Bosnians like to be mercenaries like that, go abroad and use their skills. We've got Nico, then we've got Pitar, with his HLTV shenanigans.
Yeah.
Let's get these mercenaries out there. That's 2 shout-outs to Peter and 1 to Striker. I mean, how many other people can I shout out today from HLTV? Well, actually, shout out then, in that case, to the Oceanic Weeaboo Flames, who's a loyal viewer, because we are in the Oceania section. And the other thing that I should mention is an article written by him, indeed, about Atletico's new roster. This was something you had already pretty much formulated in past episodes, right? That Sniper was on his way there with some boys.
Yeah, Sniper was on his way there with some boys, but like the boys that he arrived with like got kicked out of the door as a,
Yep.
as a result of this move. They basically took like they cherry picked from a bunch of other CGP teams and picked like what players they wanted. So you have like Ian from Avant-Garde and Zeke from Avant-Garde as well. You have Nikiz, who I think most recently was on Chiefs, who got there by way of like Skyfire. No, he was most recently on Exile 5. I lied. Who got there by way of Chiefs. And then the last guy is Jokes, right? Who most recently on Parallax, I believe. So you can kind of see that. I'm sure Sniper, just went in and went broop, 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 broop. And so now he's assembled that roster. So let's see.
Yeah. Well, he has he's got the elderly distinction to him, so he can kind of do that. Not to mention having played in majors before. So, yeah, certainly like a figure that can pull that off. Do you think they could challenge Tainted Minds for being best Australia team? Hard to say this early on.
I think it's pretty hard to say. I mean, Tainted Minds are a pretty solid outfit that's been playing together for a while, so they have that going for them as well. I don't think we're going to see... I mean, they're not going to come out of nowhere because people are going to be looking out for them because they'll be like the upstart team, but I don't think they're going to, like, right away go from 0 to 100 and take that top spot in Oceania.
Got it. Okay, so this is your namesake, and I guess mine too, but who the fuck? So the one that most interested me recently was this, what's the name of it? Berserk?
Yeah.
We got Solik, like the one other relevant Sveislander, that's not correct, besides Maniac, and then toss in Tony and Sem. Tony's been talked about on the show before. Oh my God, you're typing cancer.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. And then Tossin, here, was Tossin one of the people whose name... No, never mind. Okay, I thought he was the Penta player. For some reason, I was thinking of like the match throwing cheating boys. I don't want to throw him under that bus. I was thinking of Robson.
Right.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I mean, this is like one of those teams where I see some potential. There's some potential there.
Well, you have Sem. So you have like the old men in Tony, Tassin, and Solek, and then you have like the young guns in Keto and Sem, who had both labored. Like Keto, I believe, was on that division lineup that was at Acer Predator Masters that turned in a decent performance. And Sem most recently of Panthers, I believe. So he has, at least one Meisterschaft season under his belt. So I'd say probably look to those guys and Tassin to do like the heavy lifting. Solek has been like more or less inactive again, like so another one of these guys that has been inactive and trying to make like another go of it. And they're doing again the whole player owned thing, yada 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 yada.
Oh, they are? That's what it is?
Yeah. I mean, so Berserk is like the...
All right, guys, I had to pause quickly. I had a friend come down who was leaving to say bye. But yeah, we were talking about that Berserk is another player-owned kind of thing. So finalize that, Joe, before we move on to some other no-namers.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the Berserk name is an old CSGO name that was created, like, with Solek, Asmo, and, like, Rack and some of these dudes, Felix in there as well, of, like, former Source players. And then the players went on to join Attacks the first time, and then Penta after that. And so now Solek has revived that name as a player-owned organization. So, another, it's in vogue now.
It is.
Certainly, this is like probably the least notable assortment of players to get involved in that sort of a thing. But
I already thought Norse were pretty like cutting it close in terms of like, do you deserve this? But yeah, this one's definitely below that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So interesting from that perspective.
Yeah, certainly. So, my goodness, this has to be the most obscure thing Wikipedia has ever added. The Japanese player T4K3J to Absolute Terror. Is that like a little Easter egg for me to just notice?
Even I missed that one, so yeah, it's probably just for you.
All right, sorry guys. That is not something you deserve to even know about. So I will not.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there's first one of the year.
Yeah, first one of the year. Yeah, cool. I'm just on 2017, looking at the transfers. So we did have the continued disintegration of Ensa come along later, which we didn't talk about. Obviously, Sunny on Penta playing with them for this relegation, but then Alexi B also went to Encore. Not much to say there. I guess we had Char, who's like an American player who comes up every once in a while. He's made his way to Insomnia. Is this I've told you I don't really follow Premier Main. Is this a Premier team?
Yeah, this is a Premier team that had been putting in decent performances. The organization had 2 teams in Premier last season, one of which is now, they were also signed to Enix. That happened on the 5th. If you scroll up. But yeah, so I mean, but they've retained their like 2 main guys, which is Strong Legs and Cardiac, and brought in Car, Dapper, and DJ. Dapper is like one of these upcoming young kids. Like he's tearing up rank G right now.
Rank G.
Yeah.
There's rank. So I thought it was rank A before rank S.
No, they changed it now. So there's like rank A, and then rank G is like basically. It's basically like the top 50 from rank A and the bottom, like however many from rank S every month go into rank G now. So it's like another layer of separation
it's like a face
between
Masters
the
League
plebes.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I just got really terrified because I opened up the Insomnia Esports team page on Wikipedia. Who do we have here as the coach of the team? Oh, it's none other than David.
Yeah, your boy.
Oh, shit.
It's your boy, David.
Also, what's with all the, like, Daps impersonators on this team? There's the COO is a Damien from Canada, and then there's a Dapper. Oh, wait, you just talked about him. Sorry.
DJ.
Yeah. Oh, my God. They all just want to be like Daddy Daps.
Ooh,
all right. So, BX3, we lost. See, Nito, we used to talk about him, how he was, like, the Dark Souls guy, but no, that's actually with an I. But the Norwegians, Nito, HCon, and Mikis, who went off BX3. I'm moving kind of slowly. This is like way at the beginning of the year. Let's go up to the top. But some of these teams are like not too who. Like I've never seen this Latvian lineup. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mentality.
I didn't want them to be there. The guy came like begging into Discord, and some other person put them there. I wouldn't have put them there. But anyway, a pretty not super who is the Lithuanians from VWS parting ways with their organization. We saw them at the CIS minor, where Poon especially was tearing things up.
Oh yeah, that's not super who at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've parted ways. They're on the lookout for a new home. They're going under the very punny name of Lithuania right now. So
oh, that is very funny.
Props to them.
Yeah, and the other thing that I noticed was this resurrection of Puta.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
With Cologne and Crazy. Yeah, Cologne's still probably the CS player who most looks like an alien.
No, what? I thought he was on permanent chemotherapy. That was my guess. Like, he just had to keep going back every year. They were like, it's still there, Cologne. He's like, God, I guess I got to keep cheating in 1.6.
I'll be there at Copenhagen games, though. Don't worry, guys.
Dude, the Danish scene cracks me up. It's like it really is like, you know, all the little subconscious things implied in Shakespeare's Hamlet, incest, depression, suicidal tendency. It's all there in the Danish scene. It's all there in Danish culture.
Oh boy. Moving back a little bit, we have 4 new Brazilians going to Dai, and these are the guys that are going to be living. Well, actually, are as of 2 weeks ago living in the States. They'll be at Fragadelphia, so be on the lookout for that.
That's them. I was gonna go up to Fragadelphia, but in fact,
I'll be there.
Really?
Yeah.
First, I was gonna go up to Cass, and then I was gonna go up with a team to play. But unfortunately, it's the weekend. My parents go to a general contracting thing in Vegas, along with my brother, and I have to look after the dog. My brother does come back later, though, so we could have, I guess, if we wanted to squeeze it, but it'd be too hard. I did want to go.
Do it. Get a fucking sitter, dude. You're making all this cash money now. Come on.
I had my boy, what's his name? I blank so hard in the show sometimes. Sasquatch. Yeah, I had him offering me a place to stay, like sleep on his floor and shit. So.
Wow, he didn't offer me that. He asked if I was coming, but he didn't fucking offer me to stay somewhere.
Well,
now I'm gonna go yell at him.
Right, Sasquatch and I are tight, and we go back really far, and we've been hanging out at events ever since day one.
Anyway.
Fun story. Fuck, he's gonna hate me for this. I just remember this exemplifies the Zubu culture. I just came to get a drink with him, and he just whips out the Zubu card, the credit card. He's like, just charge it to this. That's where all your prize money went. Game on.
Jason Katz at it again.
Yeah. I just wanted to say one final thing for who, unless you had some other teams in mind. I have 2 more. I was gonna say Foix. That might have been one of the ones you wanted to talk about. SMF, LOM.
Oh yeah, that was not one of the ones, but yeah, we got another just Danish mix of dudes with some old Danish names, some new Danish names. So
yeah, there it is.
Life goes on in Denmark always.
Incest, depression, suicidal tendency. Don't forget it.
The 2 that I wanted to point out here are we have coaching changes in Luminosity and Pain. Apaka, the former coach of Luminosity, apparently had some family issues, I guess, back in Brazil. So he'll be heading back there. And Felipe, the former coach of Pain, former Crossfire CS 1.6 extraordinaire, will be transferring from Pain to Luminosity as their new coach. So Luminosity keeping their 5 active players intact, but a little change in who's directing them. And then we have the only other thing I want to point out is E United. We have Mitch and Abe, former Selfless and Splice players respectively, filling out E United's rosters, which now
you don't have Mitch on Liquipedia though.
That's because that happened New Year's Eve, motherfucker.
Wow, I'm too lazy to go to 2016. Well, Abe, it's good to see the hyena return from his retirement, I guess.
He's a goat, dude, not a hyena.
We're tight though, so I'm glad to see him playing.
You and Abe were tight? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey,
Did you congratulate him on his new job?
No, but I still have some friends in the scene. Don't you worry.
Friends is a strong word.
I'll have you know the North account followed me on Twitter.
They followed you?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck. You suck.
That's what you get when you're goddamn beautiful. All right, anyways, before we get off on the tangent, Shady and Spooky, this is what you guys were really looking forward to. Oh, I went to Global Scoop.
This is the meat and potatoes, as they say.
Yes. I actually remembered one more thing. We could have talked about the simple FPL council thing. Or we can.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that one's also cancer as fuck. But the first one is land dodging. So prepare yourselves. First, what happened was Archie Monday, the Muffin Lightning player.
Former Muffin Lightning player, yeah.
Yes. He dodged the LAN.
Yep.
Was that the one? That wasn't the one where they revealed chat logs. That was with Hades, right?
Yeah.
This is just the one where Silence said he didn't have firepower and you basically wrecked him forever.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're gonna see Archie Monday for a while playing. I mean, it's the NA scene, so he'll probably show up again under some weird passive aggressive contract or some. Oh, he's 27 though. Well, anyway, sorry for the tangent. So they had to have stand in, or Diane rather. But yeah, so this sort of set, we hadn't seen big land dodging like this in a while. And then just as you thought that was going to be the most dramatic thing of the last few weeks, then we had Hades missing WESG and even more hilarious reveals of chat logs. So which one do you want to go in on? I think Hades is, of course, more interesting, but...
I mean, first off, let's just go off in general. What the fuck are you thinking? It's one thing if you have some serious issue that you legitimately can't go, but if that's the case, fucking tell your team about it, not the day before. A would be one thing, and B, especially if they have to fly to fucking China. The subtle guys flew out at 8 a.m. this morning, and Hades told them at 8 p.m. last night. So that's pretty fucking shitty. And also, what are you how do you ever think you're gonna have a legitimate shot at making it to a top tier team again if you're pulling crap like this?
I think Hades is done, to be honest. I think
I think now he's certainly done. Yeah.
I mean, he already had a bad reputation from a lot of... I don't know about it, but he's getting dropped from teams a lot. That kind of speaks for itself.
Yep.
He had some stream drama where people thought he was ghosting, or no, what's it called, view botting, because he would have 600 viewers but really quiet chats. So yeah, I don't know. How much shit can you put on the wall before it falls off the sides? So yeah, this is pretty bad. And the chat logs are not, these days you could doctor any chat log, but obviously who the fuck would take their time to do that, especially a Counter-Strike player? It's not like Els is just in Photoshop let me just add what Hades said here. I believe it does seem authentic, so they make him look really bad. He's whining the whole time about the groups. He's just being shady, not owning up to anything, really beta shit, honestly. It's extremely beta male.
Yeah, it's just not a good look, and I feel bad for Ocean and Els because this is now the second blow that they've had dealt to their WSG squad. First, of course, was Nerdy receiving a VAC ban. Merry Christmas to him. And then now this. So now they're they even said it in Els' Twit longer. Now they have to go to China with a stand-in in Davey with a week of practice and a coach with 0 weeks of practice, and I looked it up. His last meaningful playtime came during ESEA season 12. So we're finishing up season 23 now. So
yeah, dude, I played ESEA season 12. That was one of the two seasons I played.
Yeah, long time ago.
A long time ago.
So Subtle's already dismal chances of making out of the groups. They're in that group A of death.
Yes, they are.
With VP, Epsilon, Envious, and the Russian mix. So, it wasn't looking good for them to begin with, and now it's super bad.
Good night.
But they get a free trip to China, except for Davey. They had to pay for him.
Right, they did.
But,
which is also shitty, but yeah. So Hades kind of, the poetic justice was served, and I guess it all came. out. I did find it funny that not Elsa's tweet, not there's some other thing that made it to the Reddit, but it was fucking Tarek's tweet that had the most upvotes. I don't know. Just goes to show that if you just like if you're a big celebrity and you tweet about it, it'll be more famous than the actual content. It actually annoyed me, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, he was just saying that what he thinks land dodging is like almost as bad as cheating. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was annoying. So, anyways, yeah, land dodging is the new thing apparently of 2017.
And we're only a week into it. So at this rate, we have like 102 more land dodges left in the year or something.
Exactly. So moving on, we've got. Oh man, this. I'm so sick. I'm so sick of these twitlongers and this WESA or WESA PEA thing. But it looks like, basically, from my understanding, which sometimes I have like deeper knowledge and sometimes I don't. On this one, I don't really. So what I'm saying is pretty much what like an average viewer would know. But from my understanding, it looks like WESA just fucking they won the chess game right here because PEA imploded, fucked up their branding and and just like external communications, and now we are fast on track to get a monopoly going, barring like big money entering and knocking them out of the way.
Yeah, and no time wasted from the WESA end of reports coming out saying that WESA are now trying to do like the same exact thing. So
in 2018, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe it was like in 2017 from the Richard Lewis thing, they got outvoted. But then when they saw that PEA, that the players came up with the players' rights thing, they were like, okay, guys, the fucking games are over. Or I should do it with a Russian accent, but they were like, this year you're not even voting. You are playing in our leagues only.
Right.
Yeah. So that's...
trying to out PEA there, so...
Well, PEA, like, they're like, oh, we're going to another game. What game are you going to?
Well, yeah, I mean, Blizzard has already said they're not going to give them a tournament license, so what fucking game are they going to do? They're not going to get Call of Duty. MLG has that. So...
PEA is just going to end up becoming like a sex club for sad old men who own these North American teams to, like, hang out in Asian massage parlors or whatever. That's what it's on track for becoming.
They can do, like, Rocket League.
Yeah.
And, like, Street Fighter. That's it.
Great stuff, guys. I heard that Rainbow Six is really on track to compete with CSGO as a tactical shooter.
In Spain it is.
Really?
I don't know if it's on track to compete with it, but it's like semi-big in Spain. It seems to be more big than CS is, sadly, in Spain.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, well, we will have Lucas sometime to give us a threnody of the Spanish scene. I saw the Assembly Winter News came out, so we can quickly mention that in Helsinki, February 3rd to 4th, there will be 15K. Am I doing? Yeah, which is like it's pretty much standard year after year, so that's good. I don't think there's a team list yet, but yeah, so you'll have more CS that isn't MTG WESA owned, if that's your thing. So finally, do we say anything about this player council thing? You know that there are entities involved that I have a strong dislike for, so I can't get too ahead of myself.
The player council of the FPL thing, or
yeah.
I mean, do you want to talk about it?
Not
I mean, it's
really.
all just like straight. It's not even beta shit. It's like gamma shit. It's like a bunch of grown ass men that can't even fucking like have zero interpersonal skills. Just going behind each other's backs and acting like a bunch of fucking women. It's embarrassing for all parties.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing, and it won't be too extreme, so you won't have to like regret doing a show with me. There's a reason I don't follow all of Meister NBK on Twitter. That's all I'm going to say.
You know what? Frankly, the only person that comes out looking good of this is Simple, because you know what? You know, at least with Simple, what you see is what you get. Simple is exactly the fucking same in private as he is in public. So that's what I can at least respect about him.
You know what? In private and not behind a computer, he's actually a sweet kid, actually.
Yeah, in fact, he's actually better in private than he is in public.
Yeah.
But you get him in a fucking server in front of a keyboard, and he becomes a fucking monster.
Which I can actually relate. I have a very similar personality to him. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I'm simple. because I'm obviously not like a CS god, but I am high standard for certain things like writing, for example, and a little bit tyrannical. So yeah, I can be like really nice in person, but like a piece of shit in a competitive or working atmosphere. So yeah, I relate. It's like some people are like that. Some people are perfectionists, and if you accommodate people who are like that well, or if you give them like a mentor figure, an elder, or someone who has really good people skills who can channel those skills, then you've what's the expression? Like a diamond into a gem into a gold mine. No, I don't know. You've turned something into something better.
Made coal into a diamond, because that's like the actual biological thing that happens. But
okay,
I don't know. I don't know what you're going for.
I guess that's our thing. All right, so recent tournaments. The only thing, well, not the only thing we had. No, we talked about the Spanish LVP ending, or it wasn't LVP, right? It was some other Spanish tournament.
They had a ESL LAN with 4 teams.
Right. It was finished. That. Yeah. But we talked about that. So, just letting you guys know that the DreamHack Las Vegas closed qualifiers start tomorrow, or when this will be out, they'll have started and probably played out the first round. But so the 2 tournaments are Global Challenge and this there Starry Game, but wasn't there another one like a few days ago for the CIS region?
Yeah, there was another Russian thing that I'm forgetting. Oh, it was Hellcase. Yeah. Hellcase Cup 1.
Can you cover either of those? Maybe I think we did talk about Hellcase Cup. Maybe just Starry Game. You talk about that, and then we'll do Global Challenge. And then by extension, the EPL relegation.
Yeah, I can talk about Starry Game. Starry Game, not much to like talk about really. Like, so Team Lead, which is like Luke's and Rami's team, is in there again. You have Zarlin's, your favorites. The Kazakhs are in there.
But it's online, right?
Yeah, it's online.
Oh, then yeah, we don't really have to talk about it. I thought you said you wanted to say something. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, the only thing I wanted to say is that there's like this like international CIS mix of your boy NSWW.
Yes.
So we got 2 Ukrainians, him and Z1. We got Fenya the Russian, Dream the Kazakh, and Dai the Kyrgyzstani. They're like playing together. They were going under CIS.GG previously, but now they're reviving the Team Quest name. Some interesting international mixes here as well. We have Fedge playing the Oceanian, playing with some Russians, and we have Saikin and Zepton L playing with some other Russians. So I have no idea how the fuck that came about, but yeah, like you said, this is online, so who really cares?
Quest were changing their lineup multiple times though. I even see their flag was changing as the tournament went on. They had a CIS flag, then a Ukrainian flag. But yeah, I mean, that's cool. This if you guys want to go in depth on the CIS scene and you feel kind of scientific about it, this is where you can really do the study. You could look at teams here and see what's coming up. And I mean, it's just an online tournament, but there's been such a paucity of tournaments that you really got to dig into everything that you can. So I can now announce that Rogue have won. They won in double overtime, I believe. So
yeah, over LDLC 2-0, and very convincing on the first map as well. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations, and a convincing tournament. I did not have them pegged this highly. Like, I liked the components that were there mainly for the Bulgarians, but I did not have them pegged this highly. This is pretty neat. Cadian winning a tournament in CSGO.
I aren't think that, but yet it happened.
Yeah, it did. He won one before Giuliano did.
I didn't have.
Well, she won the female ones, but you know what I mean.
She's like a 5-time world champion, dude. What are you talking about? No, I didn't. I certainly didn't have them pegged as my winner. I had, after the drubbing that Kingwin gave to LDLC in the promotional match, I thought they were shoo-ins to win this. So, not the case.
Yeah.
So, and I was looking at the stats yesterday between, the end of play yesterday and today, and 4 of the top 5 players of the tournament were Rogue players, and the top was Tensky with like a 1.61 rating. So, yeah, they were just fucking lining him up and knocking him down. So good on them, and we'll see what the future has in store for them. They do not have a path to Pro League, though, so they will be laboring in Premier at least one more season.
That's actually pretty crazy, though, that Tensky played so well. He was written off as just like such a bad player, or not bad, but so mediocre. And to see him step up his game is really cool. That did happen with a few players, I think, in Denmark. What's the other one I'm thinking of that like went from bad to good? Not Kerrigan. Oh, MSL.
Sure.
MSL played like shit at one point, and then he like really stepped it up and started playing really well. So that's cool. So the only, I mean, Rush. Not much to say there. I mean, like, I like that team. They've had a lot of chances to compete. They just don't have the working components to play well. We had Muffin Lightning finish 5th to 6th, with Die, so that was okay. TSM, they did secure EPL, but they really...
And then the wheels came off.
The wheels came off. Semphis was like, I want to gym. I don't want to play any more Counter-Strike. I'm out this
Force
bit.
buy.
I'm out this bit.
Yeah. And, that's a really interesting thing to see what happens. Well, we didn't talk about promotion yet. Let's finish up with this LAN first. Frankly, I think actually every one of these teams, except for TSM, can take something positive away from this event.
Bravado got a win over TSM. Tainted Minds finished 3rd to 4th.
Yeah. Even Rush, we saw some good play out of Virtus, who, despite his 6-month break to go play Overwatch, doesn't seem to have affected him that much.
I'm happy to see him playing again, actually.
Saw some nice play out of Poyo. Toy continues to kind of befuddle me. You know what I mean? I think his time is kind of over. There was a lot of time given to him to be this ascending star, and it hasn't really materialized, and I don't know if it ever will at this point.
His time might be over. Then you're right. Tainted Minds, by the way, the old Atletico, they finished 3rd to 4th. I did read some match threads though, and people were talking about that they weren't playing very clean. Like they were losing a lot of 2v4 or 4v2s, 3v2s. They were over peaking. So I think these results are belying themselves a bit. I think maybe Tainted Minds actually came off looking a little shook. But maybe that could have been just the being at a bigger tournament than, just some Australian Cup.
Well, you can kind of take it either way. I think they definitely showed they have skilled players like Liaz for, definitely probably you would put up as, the not a breakout star, but from that roster, probably the one that gained the most recognition from this weekend. You can kind of take it as say they have poor end of round team play, and their talent allowed them to overcome that, or you can take the view that they're a very talented team, and if they can kind of nail down that facet, then they'd be good to go. Because, I watched a round of them today. They had it 4v2 on Train against LDLC, and Twanu just fucking ripped them apart in a bunch of 1v1 off peaks. So, that wasn't a great round for them. They got taken, Muffin Lightning, took them down to the wire yesterday, which isn't a great look, considering, they're a completely organizationalist roster with a stand-in. We saw good stuff out of Muffin Lightning as well. We saw Dai perform at a, adequate level, not a star level, but she's not the worst rated player at the event.
Which just goes to show that once you emerge past that little curtain, that little bubble that these female-only tournaments have made, then there are real female players who can compete. It's just, you limit yourself if you limit the entire playing field. Or if you shelter yourself. It's all about sheltering yourself. So that's good. That's a real example on paper that a female player can do well in a male setting.
Yeah. Would like to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let's talk quickly about the EPL thing, and then we can go into the Global Challenge talent. I just want to say, it's funny, we didn't talk about Kingwin. It's a favorite team of mine. But they did okay, They only fell to the event winners, so. And they have a busy schedule. They're going straight to China after this. But, there is room. They crushed Muffin Lightning, they crushed Tainted Minds, and then they just fell to Rogue. So I won't make fun of them here. Ultimately,
and again, and I saw a tweet from Sparrow. Their main goal was getting into Pro League. They accomplished that. Anything else that happened this weekend was icing on the cake. They're now looking forward to that, that fat $1.5 million on the line.
And having an easy group
China.
at that.
Yeah. So fair play to them. Stumble a little bit at the finish line here, but I don't think they're going to be too upset about it. Doesn't really ultimately mean anything. So they just lost out on some cash.
Yep. So you alluded to the fact they qualified for ESL Pro League Season 5, meaning that does that mean that LDLC didn't have to play relegation? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the other end, it was TSM. So TSM kind of paving the way for building a really successful roster that will play in Pro League, basically, right? Like a parting gift from Semphis and FNS to get them there over Rush. Although I don't think it was a challenge. Oh, no, it was. There was an overtime game. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, they didn't look that great. Even in this match, they basically just outskilled them. Although I believe they had a healthy lead on overpass and they, threw it away at the end. But I was kind of alluding to this before. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with that Pro League spot now? Because it doesn't seem certain to me that those 4 players being Sick, Twist, Relics, and Shazam are going to stick with that organization now. And we know that Pro League spots are a little bit finicky, whereas who do they really belong to? Players versus organizations. It's like a little of both, kind of depending on what the league thinks is in its best interest. But
I don't get it, Joe. It's in the end, it emerged that Reginald appeared as if he was just acting. Maybe he got a little upset needlessly, but it just especially to the Thorn interview, it appeared like he was just acting naturally, like a business owner trying to look after his own interests. So I don't understand why the players. I just don't get it. Like, why are you sticking with this man-child, Sean Gares? Why not just try to build this TSM roster and get paid a salary? I don't know. To me, it's a little not sensical.
Sometimes life doesn't make.
All right, so we got interrupted a second time. This time by a tipsy older lady, if you will believe me.
Who happens to be his mother? So don't get excited, people.
She can be a mother, but she can also be a side hoe. Stitch went there. All right. Yeah. Reset. Except we're not really resetting because I don't. No shame, but reset in terms of where we were. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, it's no. I don't think it's a guarantee that these guys will be playing under TSM. I don't know. If there's a Pro League spot on the line, then yeah, they probably will be. But who knows the exact machinations behind all of that? So, to be determined. Drama incoming.
Drama, dude. Let's let it be known. Drama is incoming from many angles. I mean, I think this will be a spicy, dramatic year. If you thought 2016 was crazy, I just have a feeling that there'll be a lot of push, shove, retire, talk shit, whatever, stream moments. Who knows? That's my feeling. So, CS Goat, this is funny. This is no longer a segment about changes to the game.
We didn't talk about talent yet.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah, let me make that disappear. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, so you commented on it as well, dude. Is there, would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
Just a general lack of professional preparation. There were multiple instances where the talent just made, this is
at ESEA LAN specifically.
ESEA Global Challenge LAN. It just, first of all, it became obvious they hadn't done the research on some of these teams and players. Second of all, it became bad because they clearly were running out of things to say, so they started just reaching for the shitty meme department, joking about players' names. I mean, maybe that's okay on this show if we're talking about Japanese players playing in Taiwan who have AZ in a billion numbers, because that's fucking hilarious. But you don't do that when you're on a broadcast, even if you may be getting only 10,000 viewers. Yeah, and so it came across as, you know what it was? It came across as very ESEA from the old days where they would do their Dallas tournaments and they'd have Dus Murray and Corey Dunn there and being way too fucking American for the tournament. They'd be, you know what I mean? Pronouncing everything in an extremely American way and just not being very globally minded. And it had this homey feel to it, but it doesn't work anymore. So if you're gonna have a tournament called a global challenge, you might as well prepare for the global aspect of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a awful look for ICA. They're making this push for all these teams to bring all these teams from different corners of the world together to really see who the best of the best is, which is good. But then you're getting this talent who, most of whom clearly just don't give a fuck.
They're there for the paycheck.
They're there for the paycheck, which they're not even fucking earning, frankly. Because when you tell me that I can't find any information on these Australians. These guys have played fucking hundreds of maps on HLTV. It's very easy to find out what they've been doing in the last 3 months and beyond, and where they came from. So, and again, this isn't all of the broadcast members, but the majority of them. I thought it was really embarrassing and honestly hard to listen to. At least the analyst segments. The casting was whatever, because they're just talking about what the hell's happening. But the analysis segments were really, really rough.
Yeah. I got most of the info from other people who were watching, but when I did tune in a few times, I was not amused. And yeah, overall, I just saw a lack of professionalism. It's a pretty bad look. So, yeah, I think you and I both actually gave them a lot of respect in our breakdown. We weren't that savage. So I think we should leave it at that, because I think when you and I give a lot of respect in our breakdown, we're critiquing. That's when it's really stinging. That's the Stich and Joe stinging report.
Well, so I mean, here's the crazy thing here is that the least known teams here are the fucking teams of American people, which are the ones that they should know by virtue of being from their region. Kingwin are not nobodies, LDLC are not nobodies, Rogue are not nobodies, Kington Mines not nobodies, Bravado don't get out and play as much, but they're the premier team in South Africa and have been for a while.
Yeah.
There's information on all of these dudes, and it would take 5 fucking minutes to find it if you knew how to use an internet browser.
And if you were
shout outs to Bach, who does fucking know how to use an internet browser, and Blue as well, and all the other guys. You need to step your shit up.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Days fan before. I mean, still am. I thought he did a really good job on Pro League and those casts, but he obviously did not put in the same effort into this weekend. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, no, I am a Days fan, but clearly out of his element when you're outside of the top 20. Clearly. And Lex, of course, also very out of his element. If I could name another person that I saw sort of trying to pal around too much and not be, very analytic, which is the name of the role. It's an analyst. I don't know if that's
not memealist.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't made that role for me, or they haven't made that role, but if I assume they were offering juicy checks, I'd be the first to get contacted.
Yeah.
Me and Serena, the Australian chick. The 2 memers.
Yeah, there you go.
So, anyways, go ahead.
And I was going to say you can add Twist's girlfriend as well, another Australian. But
oh, no, I don't follow that. So, anyways, yeah, this segment for CSGO has just turned into talking about how shit Valve are.
Fine by me.
And you know what kind of pisses me off? These hints, the little weird CSGO thing in the taskbar in that History of CS video, and the fact they're making Dust 2. It's obvious that there is a big update in the way, and what pisses me off is that people are going to, once again, start praising them after it comes out, as if it's okay what they've been doing up till now. It's ridiculous. And they can't even keep their casual player base happy anymore, because, match ranking goes down. Sure, I understand security issues, routing issues, maybe a server caught on fire in Nevada, but you can't even communicate about it. It's really bad. It really is really bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the Valve way of doing things, right? They are textbook fucking engine nerds where they can't even understand why they would waste paying someone who is just meant to communicate with their fucking customers, because that's a body that could be working on their game, admittedly at a snail's pace, and not really on content that needs to be made.
Yeah, dude, I really am starting to be of the school that I saw expressed in some Reddit comments that there's some serious fragmentation within Valve. Like, there's probably that company has entered into a state of stasis, and there's no real, like, companies very much are led by one person. I mean, that's just unfortunately the way human societies work. Like, if you have a strong CEO, like a Jobs, then you're going to have a successful company if your company has vision and has top-down leadership. I mean, that's just my belief.
And just direction, like vectoring towards something, like
and
a goal.
Valve is just like this cancerous, bloated thing. So, Gabe Newell's body. Got him. All right, but yeah, they really have no vision, and there's serious issues with how they're managing this game. It breaks my heart. I really like CS:GO, so it sucks that they're doing this.
And meanwhile, still forcing randomized maps at majors down our throats. So that's always fun. Yeah. Always fun.
Yeah. So I guess all I wanted to say was that matchmaking went down for a while, and there's a huge shit show. It's a shit show when that YouTuber Ricky Reyes appears with another video blasting Valve. He's the guy who did the How Valve Treats CS:GO video a few months back that has like over 1 million views now.
I might have seen it, but I'm not familiar with the guy.
He just makes he compiles shit that makes Valve look really bad. I can link you after. But yeah, and I think the Reddit thread had like 20,000 upvotes, which is astronomically high for the CSGO subreddit. So you just know there's so many people out there with chips on their shoulder. But it's funny because the actual games are so addicting, and there's no one making games that, I'm not even going to say well, but just with like that formula that they like have since not really done well. But, it's a good formula, so people still play despite hating Valve.
Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to, there's really no, in a way, there's no bigger endorsement of the game, is that literally everyone fucking despises the people that make this game at this point, but, keep coming back and giving them money, even though they hate themselves for it.
Yeah.
Although I haven't opened a case in, 6 months, so I'm doing well on not, supporting Valve, at least through CSGO.
Yeah, I opened a few recently, but before that I hadn't opened them in 2.5 years. I have a very addictive personality, so I cannot be doing things like that. When the CSGO gambling sites were around, I mean, I won't say how much money I lost, but it was 4 figures, at least.
$1,000.01.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time, but I don't mind getting out there, getting edgy. All right, so this is the show. Hopefully not too many feelings were stepped on, not too many faces were squashed in the Stich zone and in the Joe zone.
Unless you were on the ESEA desk, in which case I hope your feelings are hurt and you do a better job next time.
Yeah, or if you're some upper level Chinese WESG employee and you do not give a fuck about what the Westerners are saying, I really hope that karma strikes you in the form of a wooden Buddha falls from the 10th story, hits you on the head, and just gives you a concussion. Because I'm not wishing death on anyone, but
concussion's reasonable.
Yeah, for what WESG did. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We will hopefully get these guests in order. It actually hasn't been just my end, despite Joe's attempts to paint me as the villain. Our guests have also been busy or just lazy.
It's a tough time of the year.
Yeah, it's a tough time.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.